Hey Reddit, I need some advice. Maybe I can get some input. I 29F had an experience last year with my doctor, let's call him Dr. James 45M, that turned my life upside down. It all started during a routine checkup. I have been seeing Dr. James for a few years, and I trusted him completely. He was always professional and kind, with a gentle demeanor that made me feel comfortable. During this particular visit, though, things took a different turn. Dr. James had just finished the usual checks when he began asking me about my personal life more than he ever had before. It felt slightly out of the ordinary, but I didn't think much of it at the time. Then, he complimented my appearance in a way that felt more personal than professional. I shrugged it off, assuming he was just being nice. Over the next few appointments, his behavior became increasingly suggestive. He would linger his touches during examinations, make flirty comments, and his compliments became more explicit. I felt conflicted. On one hand, I was flattered by the attention from someone I respected and admired. On the other hand, it felt wrong, but he was my doctor, someone I trusted implicitly, so I rationalized his behavior. Then came the day that changed everything. I had an appointment late in the afternoon, and the clinic was unusually quiet. Dr. James was more forward than ever. He closed the door, and what started as a checkup soon turned into a situation I never anticipated. He made his move, and I didn't resist. Part of me was curious, part of me was caught off guard, and part of me felt pressured by the power dynamic. We ended up engaging in sexual activity. After that day, I was overwhelmed with guilt and confusion. Dr. James acted like nothing had happened during our next appointments, which added to my inner turmoil. I felt ashamed for not stopping him, and even more ashamed for having gone along with it. Eventually, the guilt became unbearable. I confided in a close friend, who convinced me to take legal action. I was reluctant, but she insisted that what Dr. James did was a breach of professional conduct and an abuse of his position. With her support, I contacted a lawyer and began the process of suing Dr. James. The legal proceedings were grueling. I had to recount every detail of my encounters with Dr. James, which was emotionally exhausting. His defense tried to paint me as a willing participant who had seduced him, but my lawyer was steadfast in highlighting the power imbalance and professional misconduct. The court ultimately ruled in my favor. Dr. James lost his medical license and his job. I was awarded a substantial settlement, but no amount of money could undo the damage. While I felt a sense of justice, it was overshadowed by an immense guilt. Dr. James had been a respected doctor, and now his career was in ruins because of me. I couldn't help but wonder if I could have handled things differently. Every time I look at the settlement check, I feel a pang of remorse. I question my actions constantly. Did I overreact? Should I have dealt with it privately? Did I ruin a good man's life? These thoughts plague me, making it difficult to move on. Hello Reddit, I wanted to give you all an update on my situation. It's been a roller coaster of emotions, and I never imagined things would turn out this way. After the lawsuit and Dr. James losing his license, something unexpected happened. A few months after the court ruling, Dr. James reached out to me. He said he wanted to apologize and make amends. Initially, I was hesitant to meet him, but part of me still felt guilty about everything that had happened. I agreed to meet him for coffee, thinking it might help me find some closure. Our meeting was emotional. Dr. James expressed deep regret for his actions and how he handled things. He said he missed his career and that losing his license had devastated him. I was still conflicted about my feelings, but seeing him so vulnerable stirred something in me. We started talking more frequently, and before I knew it, we were seeing each other regularly. As we spent more time together, my feelings for him grew stronger. He seemed genuinely remorseful and caring, and I began to believe that we could have a real relationship. We resumed our physical relationship, and for a while, it felt like we were both healing together. However, a few weeks ago, things took a darker turn. Dr. James started hinting that he wanted me to go back to court and retract my statements. He said that if I admitted to lying, he might be able to get his license back. At first, I brushed it off, thinking it was a passing thought. But he became more insistent, pleading with me to help him restore his career. It was then that I started to question his motives. I realized that he might only be with me because he wanted me to change my testimony. This realization was a hard pill to swallow. I had developed real feelings for him, but it seemed like his affection was conditional on me clearing his name. I did some soul-searching and talked to my therapist about it. I came to understand that my feelings for Dr. James were heavily influenced by the guilt I felt for ruining his career. I had mistaken my guilt for love, and he had exploited that guilt to manipulate me. Confronting him was difficult. I asked him directly if he was only with me to get his license back. He tried to deny it at first but eventually admitted that it was a significant reason for his interest in rekindling our relationship. That admission shattered me. I realized I had been used, and my guilt had blinded me to his true intentions. I ended things with Dr. James and cut off all contact. It's been incredibly painful, but also a wake-up call. I've realized that I need to focus on healing myself and not let my guilt dictate my actions or relationships. I'm continuing therapy and trying to rebuild my life, this time on my own terms. Thank you to everyone who read my story and offered support. Your advice and encouragement have been invaluable. If anyone else has gone through something similar, I'd love to hear how you navigated the aftermath and found peace. Until next time, take care.